Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of MetsMusings.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings. I know it's only been a short time, but big news on the horizon for New York Mets. They get their man. I guess you've heard that by now. The Mets have signed the biggest fish on the free agent pond, and that is Juan Soto. They've agreed, let's put it that way. It hasn't been officially announced, but everybody and their brother knows. It has come about. They've reached an agreement on a 15-year, $765 million deal with the right fielder. It contains no deferred money. It includes escalators that can push the contract beyond $800 million. The Athletic's Ken Rosenthal reports that the deal includes a $75 million signing bonus. And Joel Sherman of the New York Post reports that Soto's deal contains an opt-out after the 2029 season. The Mets will have the opt-out or the opportunity to void that opt-out by adding an additional $4 million per year to the final 10 years of his deal, which would allow the deal to max out at $805 million over 15 years. Is it an obscene amount of money? Yes, it is. It most certainly is. It is the highest money ever paid anybody, which would get one to think he's the greatest player that ever played, which is not true. But he's a once-in-a-generation type hitter. His defense is not great. It's passable. But it's what he can do offensively and what he does to a team to boost that team and to boost the franchise. It goes beyond just the field. It means the Mets are a landing spot or can be a landing spot for free agents. People want to play here again. They have an owner that wants to spend the money, that wants to build the winner. We saw that last year. We contended. And that was supposed to be a transition year. This is part of the transition. Steve Cohen wanted Juan Soto, not only because of his talent, his name was branding, what he brings to New York and what he will bring here in the future. And they landed him. So Juan Soto will be the right fielder. And while it is an obscene amount of money, they had a lot of money that came off the books and are able to swing this and are able to still look at some free agent pitchers, perhaps sign Alonso. They are open to bringing him back, David Stern says. Now, that could be some lineup, especially on the top of the lineup with Lindor leading off, possibly Soto hitting second, Nimmo maybe third, Alonso fourth, Vientos fifth, McNeil in there maybe sixth, seventh could be Alvarez. Eight could be I'm missing somebody here. Who am I missing? Tyrone Taylor. I'm still missing a player somewhere. We got a second base. DH I'm missing. That's your DH is in there too. And the Mets will be looking for a DH while they're in Dallas. Or if they don't go in that direction, they can always go in the direction of moving Vientos to the DH if they sign a third baseman and Alonso. Or if they do not get Alonso, they could sign a third baseman or trade for a third baseman. More on that next. Lots of possibilities still exist for the Mets. Lots of openings. They still have an opening or two in the rotation. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the bullpen needs to get some more arms, but they're on their way. And the big thing was the Soto deal. Now you may have other pitchers that they're interested in, or other relief pitchers that they may be interested in to think, no, that's a contending team. I want to go there. That's a team that's trying to do something. So it's a win-win. I know it's a lot of money and it's an obscene amount of money, but that's what the market is nowadays. And with that money, the Mets get, as I said, a generational hitter. There isn't a lot of hitters around as good as Juan Soto. Had a terrific year last year. 288, 41 homers. I mean, the numbers go on and on. You know he can play in New York because he did it last year, so that's not a problem. And it sounds silly, but it's always an issue when you sign a free agent because a lot of people can't play in New York, but he proved he could. He can play in New York. He can take the pressure. He's in the playoffs. He's won a World Series already with the Washington Nationals. He likes the big stage. He's not afraid of it. So those two things are very important as well. Um, the pressure doesn't get to him. He wants to be here, which is another thing. He's familiar with the NL East, though it's probably changed quite a bit. He'll have to get familiar, but he knows a lot of the ballparks. It's not a big change for him. It's not that huge learning curve like if you come from the American League and you may not be familiar. He knows all these ballparks already from playing with the Nationals, playing with the Padres. So that's a plus. Plus, we get him in his prime. The 5-year opt out was a great thing for the Mets. Yes, his talent may drop after when he's in his 30s, and he signed till he's 41, but he's 26 now. You don't get a lot of great free agents at 26. And the Mets have him for 5 years, and those are his prime years. That was a big thing for the opt out. If he had an opt out in 2 years, I would say the contract is not a good idea. But being that they have him for the 5 years, it's what makes sense in this whole big thing. So Juan Soto is a New York Met. He will go to right field. What does that mean for Starling Marte? He could be on the trading block. He could be moved to DH if they wish. We'll have to see. They're looking at other free agents. They're looking at Jock Peterson and some other guys. If they sign a left-handed bat, that could be telling. That could mean that they're going to platoon at the DH between a guy like, let's say, Peterson and Marte. We don't know. If they sign Alonso, Viento stays at third. Alonso plays first, of course. If Alonso walks, the Mets have a lot of options. They could go after Alex Bregman. He's still available. Nolan Arenado is on the trading block. He has a complete solid no trade clause. However, he has come out and said that there are 6 teams that he would be traded to. He would allow a trade to, and one of those teams is the New York Mets. So could that be an option? Could you trade for Arenado and put him at third base? Move Vientos to first if you do not sign Alonso? That's a possibility as well. The Mets are also in a heavy pursuit for Garrett Crochet. Some people are saying that they are the front runners. I'm not sure of that. It would mean giving up a lot of the farm system. David Stern has made the comment that he is willing to trade top prospects to get what they need now. And look, after the job he did last year, it is hard to argue with this guy. He knows how to build a team. I mean, it may not look at it at the beginning of the year last year, but he kept pecking away and making moves and plugging guys in, and they were 2 wins short of the World Series. So I have full confidence in them that no matter what they do, they'll find a way. He can find a way, I believe. We will see. So, like I said, the Mets will link the White Sox pitcher, Garrett Crochet, who would be a valuable addition to their rotation. He would join the rotation of Kodai Senga and Clay Holmes now, and David Peterson and Frankie Montas. And then you also have Tyler McGill and maybe Brandon Sproat and played Tidwell. So it's they're building that rotation slowly but surely. So Garrett Crochet could be a guy. Max Fried is off the table. He signed with the Yankees, so Corbin Burns could be a possibility. I don't think the Mets will go that high for a pitcher. They were also exploring bullpen help, including Jonathan Losiga, an upside reliever who is returning from injury, another former Yankee, and he could be one that they look at. They're also looking to fill a designated role, hit a role after the departures of Jesse Winker and J.D. Martinez, as I said, Jock Peterson, and Anthony Santana are potential targets, and they could go back to a Jesse Winker. And how about a Winker Marte platoon? That would work out nicely, I think, for the Mets if they were to platoon at the DH spot. So lots of mechanisms going on. We have another 2 days or a day and a half. Well, let's say 2 days of the winter meeting. So anything could happen. Moves are taking place. I wouldn't say it's overly busy, but moves are taking place at the winter meetings. Jake Berger of the Marlins, he recently got traded to the Texas Rangers, and he was a thorn in the side of the Mets last year. So good riddance. He's out of the division. As I mentioned, Max Fried went to the Yankees on an 8-year deal, $218 million. So he's out of the division as well. So the Braves look like they're going to be a little bit weaker, but as my good friend Barry Newman has said, the Braves are always find a way to reload. So But this time, you have to look at them and say they are a weaker ball club only because that their farm system isn't supplying as many players as it was. Why is that? Well, because they've been winning. They've been winning so much. When you win, you draft lower and you're not getting studs every year. So, um, that's why sometimes it's if you have a run and look, the Braves have had a phenomenal 30-year run in this with a couple of down years in there, and they were able to rebuild the farm system, and that's what the Mets want to do. They want to keep constantly churning out players. You can do that by making trades as well. You can trade players for top prospects, which is what the Mets did a couple of years ago when they traded Verlander and Scherzer and those guys. Yes, they paid their salary for a year, but look what it did to the farm system, which may start to pay off in either talent coming up or moving some of these guys for other talent that'll pay off for the Mets. So the winter meetings continue for a day and a half or so, and anything else could happen. And don't forget, the meetings are also a time when they can lay out possible trades or open up discussions with free agents and make tentative deals and um, work on it some more once the winter meetings are over. It's the idea is to get everybody in one place and try to get them to discuss different things, and that's what's going on. So the Mets are in tons of discussions. As I said, they're talking about Garrett Crochet. I'm sure they're talking to St. Louis about Arenado just in case. They're probably talking to the Burns people, the Sasaki people. They're talking to all kinds of folks right now. We'll see how it all shakes out. But the big news, of course, is the Juan Soto sweepstakes is done, which opens up the market for every other free agent now. And the Mets are the winners in that. All right, one other quick big news, and then we're gonna go. Also happening at the winter meetings, they announced the entries to the Hall of Fame from the Classic Baseball Era Committee, and it'll be two guys going in. The late Dick Allen and Dave Parker earned election to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in voting, as I said, from the Classic Baseball Era Committee. The announcement made from the winter meetings, needing at least 12 votes of the 16 committee members, 75% required. Allen received 13 votes and Parker 14. And if you never saw these guys play, I'm sure most of my audience never did. I've seen both of them. They were terrific ball players. Dick Allen, nobody hit a ball harder than him. And he used like a 42-ounce bat. I mean, it was just incredible. He had some issues with the fans and the media, but what a first baseman and what a hitter. He could pound the ball. And Dave Parker, wow. Dave Parker, terrific outfielder. What a gun. When you talk about gun, he had a cannon for an arm. And he could hit the power. He had speed. Dave Parker, Cobra, he had it all. And so it's great to see that these two guys are going to be going into World Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, we lost Dick Allen a few years ago, and it's always a shame when you wish somebody that could have gotten in their lifetime, but his family will get to enjoy it, and people will learn about him. And he was just a terrific ball player. Phillies, the White Sox. I think he may have played a little bit in Oakland too at the end of his career, but um, the great Dick Allen and Dave Parker are going to the Baseball Hall of Fame. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a quick show, and we'll be back. There's any other breaking news from the winter meeting. So until next time, remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'm Gary Mack, and I will see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.